The airport was loud, restless, and overflowing with movement, yet Michael Hartman had never felt more alone. As planes roared overhead and rolling suitcases clicked across polished floors, the 46-year-old CEO sat motionless on a metal bench at Denver International Airport, staring at a departure board that meant nothing to him anymore. In a place designed for beginnings and reunions, he carried only exhaustion and grief. Then, in a moment so small it almost went unnoticed, a little girl with curious eyes and tangled curls stopped in front of him and asked if he was lost too. What followed from that quiet encounter would unravel walls Michael had spent years building and reveal a truth that shocked not only the child, but Michael himself. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human connection, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. Michael Hartman was known across the United States as a disciplined leader, the founder of a fast-growing logistics company with offices in 5 states. His calendar was always full, his suits always pressed, and his public image always controlled. Yet none of that protected him from the emptiness that followed the death of his wife 3 years earlier. Work had become his hiding place, airports his second home. He traveled constantly, convincing himself that movement meant progress, that success could replace what he had lost. But every hotel room felt colder than the last, every business victory quieter. That morning, he wasn't flying for work. He was flying because he didn't know where else to go. The airport buzzed with families, couples, and children clutching stuffed animals, all moving with purpose. Michael watched them from a distance, feeling invisible in plain sight. His phone buzzed with emails he ignored. He felt lost in a way no map could fix. That was when he noticed the little girl standing alone near him, her pink backpack nearly as big as her small frame. Her name was Abigail Brooks, 6 years old, traveling with her aunt who had stepped away to speak with an airline agent. Abigail had the kind of face that asked questions before fear could stop them, and something about Michael's expression drew her closer. Without understanding titles or bank accounts, Abigail saw only a man who looked sad in a place full of people. Her simple curiosity cut through Michael's emotional armor. He didn't answer her the way a CEO would respond in a boardroom. Instead, he felt something unexpected rise in his chest, honesty. He admitted, quietly and without embarrassment, that he had been lost for a long time, even while knowing exactly where he was supposed to be. The truth surprised him as much as it did her. Abigail didn't judge or try to fix anything. She simply sat beside him, swinging her feet, as if loneliness were something that could be shared until it weighed less. She talked about her dog back home, about missing her mom who worked night shifts, about how airports scared her but also made her feel brave. Michael listened, really listened, for the first time in years. He realized how long it had been since anyone spoke to him without wanting something in return. In her innocent way, Abigail offered him something priceless, presence. When her aunt, Rachel Brooks, returned, she apologized for leaving Abigail alone and thanked Michael for keeping her company. Rachel was a nurse, exhausted from long shifts and constant responsibility, raising Abigail after her sister had passed away. Michael felt a strange familiarity in her tired smile, the look of someone holding life together quietly. Their conversation was brief, but meaningful. Before they parted ways, Abigail hugged Michael without hesitation, the kind of hug that asked nothing and gave everything. Michael boarded his flight later than planned, but something inside him had shifted. At 30,000 feet, staring out at the endless clouds, he thought about how a child had seen through his success straight into his sadness. He realized that despite all his achievements, he had been emotionally grounded, unable to move forward. That encounter forced him to confront a truth he'd avoided. He wasn't just tired, he was grieving, and he had never allowed himself to heal. Days later, back at his office in Chicago, Michael couldn't shake the memory of Abigail's kindness. He did something unexpected. He reached out through the airline's customer service, not to complain, but to ask for help locating the family he had met. When he finally connected with Rachel, he learned about their struggles, the medical bills, the long hours, the fear of losing stability. Michael didn't announce his intentions or frame it as charity. He simply offered support in the way he wished someone had offered it to him years earlier. He arranged a flexible job for Rachel within his company's healthcare coordination team, a role that respected her experience and allowed her to spend evenings with Abigail. He quietly funded Abigail's education account, ensuring she'd never have to fear being lost in the world. But more importantly, Michael began changing his own life. He reduced his travel, sought counseling, and allowed himself to grieve instead of outrunning pain. Months later, Michael attended Abigail's school recital, sitting in the audience without a suit, without a title, just a man who had learned that being found didn't always mean knowing the destination. When Abigail spotted him and waved with that same fearless joy, something inside Michael finally felt whole. He understood then that healing often arrives disguised as a simple question from a stranger. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us keep telling stories that remind us we're never truly alone. Before the ending, please leave a comment sharing whether you've ever felt lost in a crowded place. Michael Hartman still traveled for work, still led his company with purpose, but he no longer ran from silence. Because one day, in a busy American airport, a little girl reminded him that sometimes the most powerful directions come not from signs or schedules, but from human connection, and that being lost can be the first step toward finally finding your way.